know that the preterm birth is higher in African Americans, but the question is why? Why is this?
It's my community, you know, it's me, and it's my mother, it's my sister, it's my daughter.
It's really about improving our quality of life, improving our health outcomes, improving our children's brain development. There's nothing more important than that.
There are multiple factors that attribute to those outcomes that affect our families, our communities, especially our mothers that are holding our future generation.
When you actually work with families and with communities very intimately, what you begin to hear from them is their own intuition about how the environment is having some impact on their health. So they won't know the word microbiome. They won't think of it in terms of environmental health, but they may share concerns of, you know, why are all the waste dumps always located in the Black neighborhoods?
If we can see that our decisions and our choices are affecting our health directly and our children's health directly, what are the changes we can make? My name's Hagrenesh Tesfa. Most people call me Hagi, and I am the Director of Community Outreach and Translation at the CChem project at Emory. So the acronym is CChem, and it stands for the Center for Children's Health, the Environment, Microbiome, and Metabolomics. And so with the project, there are 5 different areas. I'm the Director of the Community Outreach and Translation. That's about whatever information is going on in the building, how do we make sure that it's transparency across the board? Making sure that there's a voice coming bi-directionally. This project's not about your income level, about what neighborhood you live in. We know that Black babies are having poor prenatal outcomes. That means we're being born earlier than term, and the babies are being born smaller, you know, and so why is that?
As a young African-American single mom, and what I know now versus what I knew when I had my first child at 21. I knew my child had asthma when I knew I had a baby at 36 weeks. One has the ability to look at, okay, if I would have known this then, I would have done that.
It is imperative that not only are there people from the community as community partners at the table, but that their voices are valued, that their inputs are truly considered, because we're not here to be decoration.
My name is Kamisha Muhammad. My role here is as Patient Services Coordinator. So I do a lot of different things. I'm a doula, I'm a lactation counselor, and I am an advocate for women. I'm passionate because I read, I know a little bit about history, and we have always gotten the short end of the stick as far as Black people in general and Black women in particular, and especially in the healthcare field. And we were always made to serve other people without necessarily looking out for ourselves. So I'm an advocate for myself, and I want to be an advocate for other women and help them find their voice.
We know that Black women that are babies are being born earlier, premature, and that they're born at lower birth weight. Have you all heard about that? You have? Do you guys have any idea, like, reasons that could be?
Stress.
Stress? What type of stress?
Like stressing your body, as far as like you said, like not being in like good environments, like positive vibes and stuff like that.
So I'm passionate about this particular work because we're talking about bringing forth the next generation. And we want that next generation, of course, to be better than the present. And the only way that I believe that we can do that is to bring them forth under better circumstances, you know, spiritually, mentally, and physically, and all of that.
I'm a pediatric nurse practitioner, and I've worked in communities of color as a pediatric nurse for over 30 years. And I can tell you that the things I see, the differences in health among babies that are, living by highways, or even in communities where the parents are under so much stress because of poverty or crime. The way to keep them healthy and have a flourishing, beautiful childhood, the way we all hope our children will grow up, it's really hard to do in a poor environment.
In our communities, there are food deserts, meaning that there's no grocery store. We only have like the corner convenience store type situation, and it doesn't always have the best food. So I think that's something that adds to the stress level, because if you're not eating well, your baby is not growing well.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much again for being here. I'm just so grateful that we have this opportunity and that you all showed up, because it's been in our minds for a minute.
This program is good, one, because it aligns with what our missions and goals are. It's said that a community is as healthy as its children.
Tell me about what you feed your pregnant body.
I actually ate a whole watermelon by myself yesterday. I ate a whole watermelon by myself yesterday. Yeah. I'm not afraid to say it, because I'm hungry and my baby has to eat, and I have to eat too. Yeah. My grandma always taught me fruits and vegetables are the best thing for your baby.
My concerns, is the food, what are they putting in my food? What are they, is this organic? Is this fresh? I feel like we need to do it ourselves, because that's the only way you know that it's not bad.
Food sovereignty to me is having a hand in how your food is grown and having the ability to sustain yourself. If children and moms are not set up from the very beginning with having a sound environment, with having a healthy environment, then we're pretty much setting them up to fail. New moms, I think it's really, really important to keep in mind to take care of yourself. Get the best that you can possibly get. Equip yourself with the tools to be able to serve yourself and serve your child, and really consider your environment, really consider what you're watching, what you're putting into your body. It's important because it creates the setup for, not only for you, because you're being impressed upon, but for the baby that you're developing. That's the first thing that they're getting. And so that sets them up for their growth throughout life, what kind of human being they're gonna be.
We're working with pregnant women and children, which are the most vulnerable parts of our population. Their health is important to the overall well-being of our entire society. As far as we know, we meaning the scientific community, as far as we know at this point, everything that can potentially be harmful to a developing fetus can also be harmful to an adult at the right dose. So it benefits us all to protect ourselves from these exposures.
So usually for home visits, we first look at a list that we have of participants who are between 20 and 30 weeks pregnant. Reach out to them, schedule a time and day that works for them. We go to the lab and we get our supplies. We have a cooler that collects the air. We have a vacuum. We have to get our specimen bottles, the labels, the questionnaires. Go out to their home. They know we're coming. Then we get there, we set up the equipment and do the questionnaire. Once we're done with the visit, we go back to the lab with our specimens. There's a designated place we put them in the lab, and the next day go back and we have to collect some more of our equipment. We leave it there 24 hours for a collection of air so that we can see what people are breathing and exposed to in their homes.
children are born, their microbiome is populated by the mother's microbiome, primarily through vaginal birth and then through breast milk and then later foods and what's in their environment. And so if the microbiome is predicting our health, these first few years of life are so important while it's being established for our immunity and for our long-term health.
I chose to be a part of this project because this is an opportunity to have an input on an infrastructure that's going to benefit our kids long term.
We see food and household hazards as the things that you come in contact with every day, and all of this is about how it's affecting our babies and our pregnancies.
So my intention when we got this center was to make sure that the community wasn't studied, but was integral to how the science is done, so that they contributed in a meaningful way, and then whatever the results are, whatever scientific findings come out of this, are useful to the community in some way.
Everybody in the room, I personally sent an invite to because I not only respect you people as parents, but I respect the work that you do in the community. This is an opportunity to kind of figure out how we can plug some of the holes in the boats when dealing with kids, you know, specifically infants.
So environmental justice, like what do we think that means?
I think it's very important from an education standpoint. When you talk about environmental justice, a lot of times folks don't realize that it's really generational.
Part of environmental justice is also education. Many of these populations are not educated about anything what we're talking about. It starts with education. Most schools in the area that you're talking about specifically do not have a social justice class.
There's a lot of information out there, and I think it can be intimidating and it can be overwhelming to try to tease out what's important and what's not, and you can feel vulnerable and you can feel out of control, like you can't protect your environment entirely. There's a lot that you can do, and so participating in a study like this and doing your part to contribute to the knowledge base is valuable, and we've learned a lot over the years, and you know, we continue to learn. And it's work like this, it takes everybody, it takes the community, it takes the researchers, it takes the funders, it takes the federal government, state, local governments, everybody to contribute and be working together to improve things.
I hope that the science that we conduct is relevant and matters to the community and will produce positive benefits in the community. I hope that it will potentially lead to either individual behavior changes, or I'm hoping that potentially the community would come together and advocate for themselves or advocate to policymakers to say we need to make changes so that we're no longer exposed or we no longer have this increased risk.